It actually, from what I've learned, is that it was started about 350 years ago in the RCA, and it's a fund that meets the needs of the congregation. First, families that may have a financial need, and then also if there's a need in the community, we try and meet that need as well. There are times we can't, but we do our best to do that. It's also an account that is uh, held in accountability with a couple other deacons. And so Joanne and I don't make that decision. We bring the financial need to a deacon, and he'll say yes or no to the amount that is requested, and if it seems reasonable.
I know that that's something that a lot of people hear from many different areas. And no, they don't. And no, they don't take prisoners from the church, from the prisons and then drop them off in Oak Harbor because we have supposedly all these resources. That's just not a truth. Well, we have guidelines, you know, as Bob said, our first responsibility is to those who are part of our church family. And then we look at people who have children because we want to make sure that the children are taken care of. And then if there's a request for an individual, it all depends on how much money we have at the time too. There are some times where we get a little low. God bless the deacons; they just put a little more money in for us. But we have to be very cognizant of the fact that this is a gift from our church family, and that we can't just give it out willy nilly. So there are certain things that we just don't help with because there's food available. We don't do food vouchers. Now that doesn't mean we might not help a family on a one-time basis. We don't do gas vouchers. We don't store stuff. We don't pay for storage. We don't pay for telephone bills. Uh, but that doesn't mean that we haven't had an instance last year where we helped an agency with a lady who needed to have her lifeline. And it was a whole complicated situation. So we did help there. Our main um, concern is make sure that they're sheltered, make sure that they have warmth, make sure that they have water. We don't pay for insurance premiums. So we, and many times we cannot help them with the need that they come in asking us for, but we will listen to what they have to say. And if we pick up on some other area or another resource that we know might help them, then we do.
And quite often you say, we're going to sit down and listen to your story.
I do.
Because everybody has a story when they come in here. And so that's what we try and do here. And Joanne's really good at that. Bless her heart. So
If they've been in within the last 12 months and we've helped them financially, we can help them again. And we try to make sure that they realize that from the first time that they do come in. And then there are people who already have an eviction notice, and we will not pay for the rent on that place to help get them caught up. I know an eviction gets on the record, and then it makes it very difficult for them to get another place, but that money is not going to help them stay sheltered. Mm-hmm. So it's important that they find another place, and at that time, if we have the money and we feel that we want and can help them, then we will put that money toward the first month's rent or deposit. Yep. So, but there are people that we just can't, and each individual is a completely separate. It's not groups of people that we won't have, except for the things that I told you.
well, there are battery questions.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
experience too.
That's right.
If we've gotten caught, we've and that is pretty much with many of the churches who do help, because we have a quarterly meeting and we talk about some of the things that have been obstacles for us and why we can't help. And because of the other opportunities that are out there for them, we're not the only gas station in the place.
There's one couple that I can point to that I really have thought a lot about, and I just texted them this morning to see how they were doing, and not because of just this, but because I wanted to keep in contact with them. But they're Richard and Lorna Wilson, and we were able to help them out for a little bit. They were actually living in their car, a family of 5 living in a car, and just came to the end of the rope and needed some help. So we assisted them. And Joanne actually pointed him in a direction of a job opportunity locally. And he's a plumber. I guess a really first class plumber, I guess you'd say. He's really good at it. Anyway, pointed into a direction. And as far as I know right now, he is employed with that company. But unfortunately, they moved to Burlington because that's where they found housing. But the fortunate part is that you look at this Benevolent Fund and the Mercy Ministry, and it's actually a mission field in its own. And so when you look at the Benevolent Fund, you need to look at it as a local mission for local people. But they won't stay local. They're going to be moving. And Richard and Lorna moved to Burlington. Well, that's more seed that is planted in a different town, and so they're part of another community over there now, and their witness is going to go live for the life of Christ.
Because that's what God asks us to do, to love and help others. Love your neighbor as yourself.
And I'm just going to share out of Psalms 9. It says, "The Lord also will be a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble." And that's what he is. That's where we need to be a part of. There are a lot of needs in the world. We all give a lot of funds to different organizations. And so if this is one that God has laid in your heart to be a part of, the people in the community would appreciate it. Surely somebody in our own church that may have a financial need would really appreciate it as well. It's a gift that God has given you, and I think we should share it if we can, if we have the ability. And sometimes the widow's mite is just that, giving just that little bit that makes a difference in somebody's life.